I figured I'd do something completely different here. I do a lot of tarot readings, and I'm pretty good at it. Now, before I talk about the tarot reading I just did, I'm going to say outright that a lot of times tarot readings give declarations that I personally would not say. In other words, it's not something I necessarily agree with or something that I like, but it is something that is physically there. It is an observation of the world or of myself or others in a two-dimensional format. It's just a way to look at it rather than to express it or, from my perspective in the three-dimensional world. Now, when I say this, usually I tend to read people or myself or something to that effect because that's what it's intended for. It's not intended to predict the future or to dictate your life. It is intended to get a different observation of the world around you, whether it be something having to do with your work or something having to do with your relationships or something having to do with other people or, things like that. It's just a means to observe from a different perspective. Now, the reason why I did this was because I figured I had never done it before, and it would be a good video, since I focus on moderators, to do a tarot reading on moderators, to determine how other people, and especially how moderators view themselves. Well, it's no surprise that everything's a positive for the moderator's perspective. We start out with the past as the Ten of Cups. Now, what does the Ten of Cups mean? It means, basically, everything's going your way in the temporary. It means, cups are generally abundance. Cups full of some kind of liquid, they're usually like these gaudy chalices. It obviously in the card represents something of wealth, whether it be physical wealth or, more importantly, spiritual wealth. In other words, you're getting what you want out of life. Now, the Ten of Cups itself represents a celebration of these things. Why do moderators do what they do? Because it's fun for them. They get to be part of their hobby, but they get to also dictate their hobby. They get to dictate how other people respond to their hobby. They get to dictate how people perceive that hobby, because they control everything regarding that hobby, at least within the confines of that particular website or many websites of which they have control over, much like Chan boards. You notice if you're a moderator on one Chan board, you're probably a moderator at a different one. So for them, it's really not even about the money. It's about the boner they get from dictating other people's lives. And they also get to sit on their ass and collect donations rather than actually have to work. So it makes perfect sense why they would do what they do. So let's move on to the present to see how that affects them and other people, stuff like that. You get the Strength card. Now, usually a major arcane card has more significant importance than minor arcana, which is, the number cards and the suits. So strength does not necessarily have to mean physical strength. It can just mean power. It can just, especially the will of the mind. That makes perfect sense given the context of what we just saw in the Ten of Cups. They choose strength in the present because it gives them power over other people. It gives them power over themselves. It makes them feel in control. That's why they like it. That's why they keep doing it, even though they do it for free. And now we move on to the future, and we get the Eight of Cups. Again, abundance. But the difference here is the Eight of Cups is the choice of abundance. You do not have to be in this position if you don't want to. That's why you see the guy kind of walking away from his cups. Eight of Cups is basically saying, if you don't like what you're doing, you can leave at any time. And for moderators, that's perfectly true. They can fucking go whenever they want to. They don't have to moderate the board they're at. They don't even have to moderate a website at all. But they want to, because why would they do otherwise when they get, all this free shit and all this power, and nobody's going to tell them otherwise. So for them, it is just absolute freedom to fuck with people. It is the ultimate Randian, self-controlled businessman. But for the rest of us, it sucks major balls. And I think that's why a lot of times moderators are never really leftists. They might be liberals, they might be ANCAPs or something like that, but they will never understand true leftist rhetoric like Marxist-Leninism, Maoism, things like that, because given the context of everything, they want to be a bourgeois class. Whether or not you consider them a bourgeois class, they are acting as a bourgeois class, even if it's only in the minor sense, even if it's only in the superficial sense. Unfortunately, I don't think it's just in the superficial sense, or else there wouldn't be a major arcana in there. Obviously, moderators have some impact on society, on culture, on our own mindsets, and of course, they have some physical control. They do have a material condition in motion because, if they can control the demographics viewpoint, if they can control what you say and what you do on that website, then it's going to affect other people. They are interacting with the physical plane, so they're going to have some kind of ramification. And on top of that, it's just a simple fact of you have this small group of people that absolutely contributes nothing for the rest of us. They just put a dick in our ear, and they're getting money for it. To just sit on their ass and literally dick people. That's fucking ridiculous. It's incomprehensible. It's undeniable. It's just, there is no excuse for that. And it's only getting worse. This is becoming a more prevalent force because the internet is everywhere. It's not just some minute thing in the corner where the hardcore geeks are doing it. You have internet every fucking where. Internet is involved in the economics of society. Internet is involved in the daily activities of society, from your phone to your computer to your business models, everything. If you own a business, you're going to be advertising. If you're on your phone, you're going to be, Facebooking and Google Plusing and shit like that. Every part of your life at some point has these forces in it, and moderators are affecting that negatively. So even in the tarot reading, as much as it points to how moderators love what they're doing, that doesn't necessarily mean that what they're doing is good or constructive, innovative, or even sustainable. And that's why they can leave at any time. Because if they get tired of their criminal life, well, they can just pick up and move on. And then they can blame all the bans and shit on the new moderators that are at that particular website. And, they figure they're never going to get arrested for it until we arrest them for it. Or shoot them. So, that's just another means of showing you how moderators are. Figure maybe this might, grind some wheels in your head if I were to explain it this way.